Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Whatever, Whenever, the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want. I am Robin.
I'm the Mentok, the whenever of this podcast.
And I'm the whatever.
I kept it straight this time around.
That's good.
By the way, fair warning to everyone, I really need to wash my clothes today. So if you hear the therapeutic sounds of a dryer running in the background, you're welcome. You can fall asleep during this podcast.
For once, I'm not the one who has the background noise. Unless it's still there for some reason, in which case, well, fuck me, I guess.
Well, I think people miss the flute from Zach's brother
Oh, yeah.
going on in the background. So, I had to compensate somehow.
Oh, yeah. True.
Well, welcome to the podcast, everybody. We have a bunch of topics to talk about, but not really.
Yeah.
but we'll start with like the one that's popping on social media right now, and it's in regards to Sonic. We talk about this guy a lot on our podcast because it's a great time to be a Sonic fan. Hoping that this game does well at the end of the year, but Paramount has announced that there will indeed be a Sonic 3. It's in development right now, even before the release of Sonic 2, which is still in April, so a couple months to go. And in addition to that, Idris Elba has agreed to continue playing Knuckles in a original TV series that's going to focus on him on Paramount Plus.
Can't wait for the second Ken Penders lawsuit.
Exactly. So for everybody who's in the know, everyone's kind of wondering what the heck's going to happen with Ken Penders here, because he swears that he owns the rights to like Knuckles' backstory, which he kind of fleshed out in the Archie comics. So considering he won that one shitty lawsuit from years and years ago, because like some judge probably just didn't care enough, I'm sure that he's going to open his mouth and talk about this. So it's going to be interesting to see what direction they take Knuckles' backstory. I can't really speak too much on this because the second movie hasn't debuted yet. I think after we'll kind of know what exactly Knuckles' thing is going to be in his TV series. It'll kind of be easier to discuss in that sense, depending on what angle they take with this movie.
I heard the series is going to be fully animated, even though the series is or the movies are like live action. Is that true?
Huh. I cannot confirm that. I'm not sure.
Huh.
Because if they take that direction, then it's clearly not going to happen in the real world. So this could be like a prequel thing leading up to when he meets Robotnik in this movie. Or it could be the aftermath, which probably has Knuckles separate from Sonic and Tails at the very end or go back home or something like that. It's hard to tell when I don't really know what angle they decided to take with Knuckles.
Yeah.
But we do know that the Echidna tribe is definitely a thing. My theory is that, when Sonic went from his world to the human world, there's just like a complete time shift overall where like, I don't know, years went by or something. This is just my guess. This is my speculation. I'm thinking that, time moves differently in the human world than his world. So like time moved faster over there and, Longclaw and that whole Echidna clan are just long gone at this point. And, there's only like legends of his power back in the day. And that's why Tails goes to go find him in the real world and probably, goes through that just because of that type of story. So I think if they ever go back, the time is not going to be the same, and the Echidna tribe's probably going to be killed off or something in that time frame. And Knuckles is the last one. That's my theory on this. And I have a couple of things to back that up, but that's not really important to the discussion. But the fact that the Echidna clan does exist, that means that Ken Penders is going to be watching this movie very carefully.
Yeah. He's gonna be like scrutinizing it and making sure that they don't have any characters that bear any similarity to any of the 40-something Echidnas that he made.
I know we've mentioned this on the podcast before, but he definitely tweeted a list of everybody he owns, all the characters that he has the copyright to, and everybody's like, oh, okay. We thought it was a lot worse. All right, carry on then. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the situation there. Um, so yeah, I'm glad that Paramount feels this is gonna be their next big franchise. I do like all of the marketing that's going into Sonic 2 right now. I'm loving all the little side scenes that I'm seeing with a bunch of familiar things from the actual Sonic game. I think there was a huge lack of that in the original, which I excuse because you're introducing Sonic into the real world as a character and you're focusing on him and his relationship with these humans and stuff, and Eggman's whole origin story and all that.
Yeah, and
But
go ahead.
yeah, just to finish that thought, like I think they're putting everything in this movie. So we're gonna see a lot of familiar shit in this movie, and based on what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, and I mean, just as far as like movies go, I hate this trend that was set by Masters of the Universe where they just go, hey, what if we take these characters from this very interesting and creative fantasy world and just put them in boring town USA? But I think Sonic movie did a pretty decent job at making that concept work.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I was just kind of like, I was just happy to see, even though the design sucked, I was just happy to see that he was gonna pop up into the movies. So I always thought that it wouldn't be like that great of a movie, but I didn't expect it to be the one of, arguably, but I think people unanimously agree that it's one of the best video game movies that has been created up to this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, when you're competing with like Uwe Boll films, it's not really much of a comparison, but
right, and let's not. I mean, I think honestly, my second favorite would be like the old Mortal Kombat from the '90s because the new one was kind of trash. But that's neither here nor there. I honestly think that this next movie is probably going to top the last movie as the best video game movie out there, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing. But that's just my call. I'm not saying that as a fanboy. I just think that everything looks right. So, and yeah, they're putting in Super Bowl marketing for this stuff, and it's crazy. It's crazy how much money went into this game and marketing this. I mean, sorry, this movie. So I'm excited, and I'm glad that they've decided to make this a big franchise because that does open the door to like a lot of stuff. I'm tired of Marvel movies, so I'd love to see this. I'd love to see them play nice with Universal and actually have like a crossover with Mario, but we'll have to see what happens with Mario first because that could be absolute trash and Nintendo just pulls out.
yeah. I don't know. I still think that movie is gonna have Chris Pratt talking with like a very heavy Italian accent for like 3 lines, and then he's gonna do like a really rough cough and then just talk like normal Chris Pratt for the rest of the movie.
I don't know if that happens in the movie theater.
You're just gonna walk out.
I'm gonna quit. Yeah, I'm just gonna quit. I'll quit my job. I'll just I'll just quit my job. Like, we're gonna do this low effort stuff. Why am I out here busting my chops every day, huh? Like, should be able to make millions off of some stupid crap if Chris Pratt does a joke like that. I just thought that was cool to put in there. I think that's all the Sonic news Sonic movie news that we got, but
Shit, that was only 10 minutes. What are we gonna do for the rest of the episode?
I know, right? But I guess just to put a cap on that discussion, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with this whole universe stuff. If there's gonna be like 2 TV shows running, so you have Sonic Prime coming out for Netflix, and I have no idea. I still have no idea where that's gonna go because the guy who made that one announcement did not seem excited about it at all in that Sonic Central. I don't know if you remember that, Robin. But this guy's like, hey, we have a logo back here. What do you think that means? Anyway, excited to show you guys some more info on this.
Oh, yeah, he sounded so dead inside.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it was kind of like prime COVID time where he's probably at home and stuff, but
yeah, true.
I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird. Take a look at that. What do you think that sign means? Like, I don't know. That's like a special Eggman sign. There's like literally nothing to think about. So I'm hoping they're not dropping the ball on that, and it's decent. Um, because there's a lot of I think there's like a lot of potential with the whole multiverse idea. But
I hope it's good. I don't know. I just every Sonic fan, whenever anything new comes out, it's like, yeah, I hope it's good. I
just hope
nothing
it's
else to
good.
say. I just hope it's
I
alright.
know.
Yeah.
So we need a second good movie. We need a good Netflix series. We need Idris to carry this Knuckles show, and we need a good. I think honestly, the only thing, like, if everything else sucks, at least have a good game at the end of the year. I hope Sonic Frontiers is good, like great. Actually, I hope it's great. I hope it gets 8s and 9s. That's what I'm looking to for a Sonic Frontiers. I feel like everything else, because it's Sonic, will be unacceptable to the gaming world. Because if it gets 7s, if it gets 7s in any capacity, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, well, Sonic Forces Frontiers is all right, I guess, at best." Sonic's definitely had a rocky start joining the 3D world, huh? So,
God, if I have to hear someone unironically start off a YouTube video with that in the current year, I'm gonna just fucking scream.
every time I think of that, I hear like the completionist in my head.
You're Gerard.
Sonic has had a rough transition in 3D. And I mean, look at the little blue guy. I don't know, like that's not the best impression, but you get that YouTuber voice.
Yeah.
And maybe I sound like that when I don't listen to myself. Like maybe I'm just so used to my voice that I don't even realize I sound like the rest of them.
No,
But-
it's okay. You have more of a streamer voice where, like, if anything, I think more people feel like they could hang out with you, whereas they feel like you're about to shove an opinion down their throats.
Yeah, I don't like shoving opinions down people's throats, but go watch the Sonic 2 movie, guys. Support this shit. We need that.
Watch it. We have firearms. And this is a threat.
I need something to dethrone Marvel for a little bit, and it doesn't have to gross higher than Marvel. I just want some attention on some other shit aside from superheroes.
I'm
for
so
once.
sick
Like,
of Marvel movies, dude. I'm sorry.
oh God.
Like
Nothing against them. Like they're a lot of these are like they're movies, right? And they're entertaining at times. I guess after the Avengers like Endgame stuff, like
Yeah.
I just wanted to see the conclusion of all of that, which I did. And I've humored like a few of the TV shows, like a couple of them, and like a couple of the movies just because I'm like intrigued on where they're taking things. And instead of like the whole Avengers plotline, they're building up like a multiverse plotline, right? And
yeah.
it's
know,
really
it's like-
ingrained in all the memes online these days, like this multiverse thing, and then you have the metaverse, and I guess we just have a bunch of verses out here. It's like more verses than a Marvel versus Capcom game. But yeah, I'm just so burnt out. Like every time I watch it, I'm just like, that was all right. That had some action in it. That was cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it's so weird because like I was into like Marvel and all that stuff before the movies ever came out. So like to get to this point where I'm just like, please stop. Please just stop all of it. I'm like, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, maybe it's just me growing up. You know?
I think it's that, but like burnout.
Yeah,
Marvel
it's like-
burnout is definitely a thing. The superhero thing is definitely a thing. You've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times.
It's gonna be. I think superhero movies are gonna become like westerns, where like we're like for those of you who don't know, like way back in the day, it was like the popular thing that movies did was westerns. It was like only western movies for the entire like an entire decade essentially, and then people got sick of seeing westerns, so they just stopped entirely. And
I mean,
now,
you have like modern westerns these days, but they're like
you have
very outrageous.
they're very
Like
they're very ridiculous. They're over the top, and they're like nothing really compared to the originals. Really,
Have you seen Django Unchained?
I've seen clips from it because one of my friends in high school sent me that clip of Samuel L. Jackson saying, "How can that guy sit on that horse?" but he wasn't saying guy.
Right.
Or the scene with
Um,
like Leonardo DiCaprio crushing the glass that wasn't scripted, and he just kept going.
yeah. I think that's one of Tarantino's better films, but like the reason I brought it up is, would you consider that a western even though it's not? Like it's like on plantations in like it's like on plantations in like the slavery days, but it just doesn't have like it has this western feel to it. I don't know, but maybe like I'm kind of confusing that with the other movie Magnificent Seven. Wow, that's hard to say. Magnificent 7-11. All right, cool, go ahead.
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't really properly, judge it. But I think the other movie that Tarantino made, Hateful Eight, would be more of a western.
That's the one I was thinking.
Yeah.
Magnificent Seven is something else then, very similar to that, right?
I think so.
I don't remember. These movies like are just kind of like just slop in my brain right now.
Yeah.
But I guess back to our original point, right? Westerns were definitely like there's a ton of them. Like
Yeah.
there's a channel I think at one point that my dad used to watch all the time that was just dedicated to westerns. And can you imagine how cheap those must have been to make? Like you could just go on set one day and probably record like 8 of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, comparing that to superhero movies, I think we're in the same realm because I'm not the only one saying I'm burnt out, and I guess we're not the only people saying we're burnt out.
People have been saying they were burnt out since like 2016. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I Hate Everything famously in 2016 made that I hate superhero movies video, and it seems that like as time goes on, it's just more and more people are sick of them.
yeah. I think like even after Endgame 2, they were
Yeah.
like not Endgame the sequel, but Endgame as well. Is what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
Even after Endgame, they were. Can you imagine Disney was trying to roll out movies faster than the way they were released? Like COVID put a stop to all of that.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if we're on the actual release cycle? Like we would be watching like Fantastic Four right now or something like that. Like we'd be probably like 10 more movies deep right now.
I don't know if they can do Fantastic Four. I think Fox showed that you can't really adapt Fantastic Four.
Well, hey, there is speculation that he will be he as in Reed Richards will be in this next Doctor Strange movie, but people love to talk shit on Twitter about like, oh my god, now that we're in the multiverse, that means we can get Wolverine, like all of them though, like the 90s one from the 90s cartoon and the one from Logan and young Hugh Jackman. We can get all of them.
Hugh Jackman,
because it's the multiverse.
Hugh Jackman said that Logan was like his last thing. Like he's done with them. He's done doing Wolverine. He's not gonna come back. I mean, well, actually, now that I think about it, I think Disney has this way of just getting people to come back. So maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
but
hey Hugh,
And
how
I mean-
about like 60 mil?
how about
You don't have to do anything. You just show your face.
You can just show up on set for like half a day, and we'll give you $100 million, and you can fuck off.
Right. Just sit here at this table. You don't even have. There's no action scenes with you. Just make a cameo. Come
Yeah.
on.
Just
love
just sit there and say some like brooding
Wolverine thing.
shit. Say something. Say something Wolverine. Say something Canadian. Reference Canada. That's what Wolverine is. He's Canadian and short.
I mean that I think that's like a very hard person to recast. And I think that's probably like Disney's like conundrum right now.
Yeah.
We'd be talking shit about the next person like the moment they come out, like he's definitely not Hugh Jackman.
I mean, like remember when they said that Robert Pattinson was gonna be Batman? Like no one took that seriously. No one took it seriously.
People are so protective over Batman, like ridiculously so.
It's just ridiculous because he's in the comics. He has a fucking cow named Bat Cow that he saved from a slaughterhouse. Like, you can say that Batman is like, oh, he's this gritty person or whatever, and then in the comics he has an interdimensional fanboy named Batmite, who's like a little fairy guy who cosplays as him.
I honestly don't even think any live action Batman film has gotten the Batman in my head correctly. I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast. We've never talked about Batman, have we?
I don't think we have. No, this is the first time.
All right, so this is the topic on Marvel movies still, even though he's DC. Live action Batman, like I guess like what's the chillest version of Batman in live? I mean, I would say I'd say the closer ones are probably like Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer, and George Clooney was just weird. But
George Clooney was weird. Well, no, because Keaton like killed people in that one too. I think the chillest technically is Christopher Nolan's.
yeah, but he screams at people. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't kill anyone. Like, what's worse, killing someone or screaming at them? You know?
okay, yeah, I mean, I see your point, but so I like the quintessential Batman to me is the animated version, and I say this because I grew up with it, so I
Which
have
one?
slight bias.
Which one?
Um,
The
93.
okay.
Yeah, played by why can't I remember his name?
Oh, is
right
is
now?
that the one that
Conroy?
has,
Kevin Conroy.
that's the one that has Mark Hamill as the Joker in it, right?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. That.
That kind of set the stage for, I think, like the millennial view of Batman. And then if you weren't into those things, then you'd probably watch the Christopher Nolan ones. And when you see Christopher Nolan, it's just like, oh, like he talks like that. And it's so jarring to me because like every animated show with Batman in it, he's calm, cool, collected. And he does raise his voice at people. I'm not saying that Batman doesn't scream and stuff. But the way that he delivers things, it's calculated and not like aggressive. So he'll be more like, I don't have time to waste, Joker. Tell me where the keys are to this thing. And then after that, if they refuse to do that, he's just grabbing by the leg and just like hanging upside down over a ledge, which, you know, Nolan version does, which, you know, shout out to that moment.
Yeah.
But it's a very silent, like, it's not, where are they? It's just like, my arm's getting tired. He'll say things like that instead, like very snappy and calm and collected, like, do not piss me off because you're annoying me right now. So I have not seen a live action Batman portray that kind of Batman yet. And I don't know if the directors just don't see that, like, as part of their vision, or it just doesn't translate well on screen. You know what I mean?
I think it could translate well, but I just think is that like people like Hollywood people, I mean, Hollywood people just like don't really notice that stuff. How do I describe this? I think it's like Hollywood people, they see Batman and they see like his character design and they go, okay, he's a vigilante guy. He definitely looks like the type of guy to just kill someone and take justice into his own hands. Some intern who is like a super nerd or something he's like, actually, let me adjust my glasses here real quick, Mr. Director, sir. That's not what Batman does. And they're like, haha, I don't give a shit.
And then he gets thrown out a window like the meme.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just like they're going for action first, and so they just don't really care because action is the selling point of superhero movies, I guess.
Because I do think Robert Pattinson has the acting chops to pull it off, but like based on what I've seen, I don't think he's going to be the Batman that I want to see. But I'll still check it out, you know, because I think he's all right, you know, and a lot of people hated that choice. They just think of Edward Cullen like from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since Twilight, so I think we can let this go now. Let's just see what the man does, you know, and if it sucks, then it sucks. But like,
and
you know, we can't use that against him. He literally played Edward Cullen. Like that's exactly how the book wrote that dude.
Yeah, that's
So,
how
like,
it wrote him. And I don't know if you've seen like the commentary tracks for those movies. I haven't like seen entire ones, but I've seen like parts of them before. He shits on his own character like a lot in those commentary tracks. He like talks about how stupid the writing is.
right. I wouldn't have turned that role down though. Like I don't know if anyone remembers how big Twilight was back in the day. That shit was everywhere. Like people started forgetting about Harry Potter because of Twilight. Though granted Harry Potter had much more longevity, but
Yeah.
that Twilight series was like the amount of young girls, I think Twilight had more fans than Justin Bieber fans at that time. And it was huge. So if I got that role, I wouldn't have turned that down, man. That's like some easy money. You mean I have to play this extremely weird vampire for 4 movies? Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah.
$60 million in my pocket plus. He probably made more than that. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I guess back to Marvel, like they're building up this whole multiverse plot, and I think it's just information overload, right? You have all these TV shows running in tandem, and like I think more content is good. I'm not saying these TV shows are awful, but I've watched a couple of them, and you can tell like some of the creative thought is kind of lacking in a little bit of them, and you have to like stretch it out more with less of a budget, and you know, it's a lot.
I think
you know,
it's
and then
cool
like
that
how.
I think it's cool they're trying stuff new, but I just hate whenever someone who like doesn't know anything about like movies or anything like that will be like, "Oh, WandaVision is like this surrealist masterpiece," and I'm like, first of all, it's not really all that surrealist, and second of all, it is far from a fucking masterpiece. You take that shit back.
And I guess the problem is too like imagine you're audience member or Robin. Imagine you're going out on a date and there's the newest Marvel movie, it's the biggest thing out there, and the person you're going with did not watch any Marvel movies ever. Like, how do you even begin to process anything going on in, like, let's say Doctor Strange, for instance? How does that person even begin to process anything at that stage of the game?
Well, I think Doctor Strange is a bad example because that kind of works as a standalone. But something like No Way Home probably would be a better example. But yeah, if you just sent someone to like go watch No Way Home, like right into it, you probably have to like sit them down during the like previews and explain to them the entire plot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for like a good 10 minutes before the movie begins.
Right. You know, and it's like...
And by that point, he, she, they, whoever you're with, has like mentally checked out and has already decided this is the worst date of my life. I hate this guy. I wish he'd shut the fuck up.
He didn't even buy me an extra large popcorn.
He cheaped out on me. He bought me a medium.
Bought me a medium. How could he only spend $50 on me on this date? The medium-sized popcorn. So yeah, I mean, you could watch like all of them leading up to that day on Disney Plus, which I would not do at this stage of the game.
No, you
That's
have
something
to.
that
You don't. I don't think you understand it. Like the amount of movies you would have to watch, not counting like sleeping and like going to the bathroom and stuff. It would take like 3 days or something ridiculous like that. 3 days straight of you just watching Marvel movies.
it feels like so much, and if you're watching them back to back, you're gonna realize the monotony after a while.
Yeah.
I think that's what had me drawn. Like, I mean, Iron Man and all those early ones really, like, they set the stage. Like, they're setting up these characters, and it was new. It was new to everybody at the time, and it's like, oh my god, these characters that I recognize in Marvel vs. Capcom. Jesus Christ, they're here.
Yeah.
And you know, when my Iron Man took off, like, you had all these cool effects, and the Iron Man suit was definitely cool, and then it just started to like get ridiculous after Thor appears, and it's like this like male sexuality movie, like just a bunch of girls drooling over Thor.
I have
the
a
whole time,
serious question for you.
yeah.
Do you remember anything that happened in Thor: The Dark World.
I didn't watch the Thor: The Dark World.
I've
Actually,
seen it twice, and I still don't remember what the fuck happened in that movie.
that's the only pre-Avengers movie I did not watch. And somebody said that's you don't have to, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. And I didn't, and I got through okay. So
Yeah,
it's skippable.
yeah. I mean, there's some of them. Some of them you just don't need to watch. Thor: The Dark World is one of those. The original Thor, I think, is pretty alright. Honestly, I like the original Thor. It's like not. It's not like good, but it's not like bad. You know, it's just an all right movie. If it were on TV, I'd keep it on there. You know,
Yeah,
but
I mean, some.
Thor: The Dark
Go
World
ahead.
doesn't feel like a movie. I don't know what
It's a,
happened in it.
did Chris Hemsworth's pecs make so much money the first time around and they doubled down on it in the
I
second?
don't know. It's like the first movie I remember. I remember what happened in the third Thor movie, but that second one, I just don't know what the fuck happened. It's like completely gone from my memory, and I
Yeah, and there's like Thor as a character had this huge comedic shift after a while. Not to say that he didn't have like comedic moments, but
yeah,
he's supposed to be like, oh, I'm this tough guy and yada yada yada.
yeah. It's
He got to this thing. I forgot what movie it was. Maybe it was
I
probably Age of Ultron or a little after that. Maybe even Thor 3.
yeah
But like they changed his character to kind of hold down the like comedic thing, but also he's like super overpowered and things like that, which I really like Thor after some part of the Marvel universe that I can't name. But I hated him at first. I'm just like, all right, this I didn't hate the actor or Thor as a character. I'm just like, what this guy's not doing it for me.
you were
And
just like, oh, he's just boring, pretty much.
yeah, and it just
Yeah,
felt like a rehash of Norse mythology after a while. And like I've
yeah,
this may be new to a lot of people, but I've been like ingrained in Norse mythology since I played Ragnarok online, like way back when. So I've had enough of the Thors and the Odins and the Lokis and all this other stuff. But of course, it's everywhere now. So it was like that's just a personal thing. Like I'm not knocking anyone that liked the Thor
yeah.
movies, but it was just a little. It was just more of the same for me. I think he was like the most uninteresting one of the Avengers at that time, next to Hawkeye. But they improved those characters tenfold after a while. He's still around, but I'm sure he's gonna take a back seat at some point.
I'm gonna make a serious hot take. Iron Man 3 isn't that bad. It's actually pretty good, if I'm being honest. I know
I didn't think.
I know everyone says that Iron Man 3 is the worst one and that it sucks. No, it's not. Go back and watch Iron Man 3 right now and you're going to love it. Or at least like it.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I know. Everyone said that it was like the worst, and I guess because it was just more of like it wasn't like very action focused, which is a surprising breath of fresh air. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, I guess Iron Man 3 is largely a story of like Tony battling with the trauma he has from
Avengers.
from
Right?
Avengers, from the plot of
Yeah.
Avengers, because uh, before that he was like a superstar. He was like a rock star on top of the world, and then boom, aliens are real, and you can't fight them off. You can't do it alone. You're weak. You're powerless against these things. And
Aliens and gods and
yeah,
like
and there's
you
aliens,
you
there's
almost
gods.
die in space real quickly, like for a
Yeah,
brief moment, like you see the brink of death.
yeah.
Um, and like I thought that was a great approach. Um, go ahead, finish your thought.
So and he he's that's what the whole movie pretty much is like he's battling that kind of trauma that he has, and then also there's some there is some I'm not saying it's perfect. Like I do think there are some parts where he acts kind of dumb, but overall I think it's pretty all right. That's all I really had to
Yeah,
say.
and so like I think the main reason why a lot of people hated that movie was because of the marketing leading up to it. And if you guys go check out like the original Iron Man 3 trailers, it's hype as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I think it was the Iron Man movie I was most excited to see. A lot of it is geared around a very popular villain in the Iron Man comics known as the Mandarin, um, who, Tony tends to buck heads with quite a bit. So people were excited to see this villain because they've been asking for him since, like, after the first movie.
Yeah, where they teased like his terrorist organization, the Ten
Right.
Rings.
Right. So the marketing leading up to that point gave just the right amount of information for people to be hype about the Mandarin, and then it just turned out to be like just like it was in the ads. It was an ad campaign to mislead people, and that happened in the actual movie, and that pissed people off. I thought it was an interesting approach.
I thought it was really good, and I mean, I don't know what they really could have done because, like, at that point, the Mandarin was from a not so great time in comic book history.
Agreed.
Yeah. So,
like, why even try to dabble into racism? Just like, even the name, the Mandarin. I mean, come on now.
yeah.
So
I mean, like, they eventually did update him for the new Shang-Chi thing, but I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So I can't really comment on that. But
yeah, I haven't seen that either, but
Yeah.
I've heard that it's great. It's good to see like Asian American actors and just Asian actors in general getting a lot of publicity in these movies now.
And
So I think that was like a great medium to bring in more of those actors, and just like Black Panther, like I think those are important films because it's nothing revolutionary as far as like Oscar worthy stuff, but inclusion is important, and having like all these different cultures being a part of the Marvel universe, I think it's great.
yeah, and I fuck, what was I gonna say? Yeah, that moment when like you're gonna say something and it just leaves.
I think it's because I shifted focus.
Nah, it's all good.
But yeah, I mean, just to pick up the conversation from where we started, I guess, just to wrap this up, or I don't know, like we could talk about Marvel this entire time. Yeah, after like the Avengers and all of that, like I think that those characters that they spent so much time building up and experimenting with and having that passion and building out those characters, a lot of it just kind of lost its charm because you lose these characters, and I understand like you're going to like the next generation of people, so some are getting killed off, some are retiring, some are taking a back seat, because a lot of these actors are just like done with it too. But like outside of that original group, these new ones don't really, I think they're just like isolated now. They're not really coming together that much as like the original stuff. It doesn't seem as tightly written as it was before.
Yeah.
And it needs to be, because if you're going to involve a multiverse, you got to be very careful with how you write things now. So like you figure like things would be a little bit, tightly written and stuff. And I'm waiting to see Multiverse of Madness before I make any final thoughts on this. But like I like Doctor Strange. I think that he has a place, and Spider-Man. I think those two are like kind of the best of what's left of the Avengers, I guess. I don't even know if they're a part of it, the Avengers, but like as far as the Marvel universe, those are the two I'm looking at right now. I don't care for like all these new guys that have come out. Like I heard Shang-Chi is like good, but nothing has really pushed me to go watch it. And Eternals as well. Like this is way too many new characters in that one movie, but I heard it was good from some people. Others have said it's all right. I don't know.
If you notice the trend is that we both have heard that it's good, but we have no desire to watch it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Even though someone has told me it's good, like, is it really gonna make me come out of my COVID cave to go risk seeing it?
It may be good, but do I care enough?
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's that. Like, if it were easier to watch, Probably is now. I probably have to get Disney Plus. I've like unsubscribed to a lot of these streaming platforms because I see what they're trying to do to me, and I'm trying to keep my I'm trying to like lower my subscriptions, the ones that I never
having like
use, you know?
5 subscription services is like on par with having a cable subscription.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you haven't touched it in like 3 months, like there's no point.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah, I don't
So
really
anyway,
I don't really watch
that's
a lot
my that's my. You don't watch a lot of shows?
No, I don't watch a lot of shows anymore. I mostly just watch YouTube.
Even
Honestly.
YouTube stuff is kind of like on the decline.
I don't know. Maybe we
I
just
mean,
have
maybe
different taste.
maybe I'm stuck in the wrong circles. I've been watching a lot of like true crime stuff on YouTube, which has been increasing in quality.
Wow, what a
R.I.P.
coincidence.
to Jim Not Swim. Jim Can't Swim. Sorry. Rest in peace to that channel.
Oh, what happened?
So they got a lot of like YouTube takedowns, and a lot of their stuff apparently was unfit for YouTube or whatever. So they couldn't monetize a lot of the stuff they're trying to monetize. And Jim Can't Swim is not. Have you seen any of their
I think this is the first time I've
videos?
heard of them.
Oh, you would have loved them. So Jim Can't Swim. I don't know how I came across this. I think I was watching a lot of like. I was watching a lot of to Catch a Predator and stuff like that, like similar types of shows where I mean I think there's like more comedic value to like the whole To Catch a Predator thing, but Jim Can't Swim is like in a similar vein. I think I was like pushed to that channel because they cover police interrogations mainly. So a lot of it is like him analyzing this video, or I should say they, because I found out it's multiple people that works on that channel. But they would take like really long cases, kind of tell you exactly what happened leading up to that police interrogation. So most of the time it like starts with a murder, and then the husband said that he had nothing to do with it, and he just went about his life for the next 5 days, and then the police took him in, and they found significant evidence to pin the crime on him, etc. And here's the interrogation.
Is that the channel that had the video that I kept getting recommended but never watched, where it was like this it was like the title was something like this is what pretending to be a psychopath looks like, and then in the thumbnail it was like the guy in the
Yes.
yeah, it was zoomed in and it was him saying, it was like captioned, "You're not a real psychologist" or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that's it, or it could be a ripoff of that channel, because basically Jim Can't Swim paved the way for everybody to start looking at police interrogations and thinking they were psychological masters. So like you would see, because they took a long time to post. Jim Can't Swim would post like once every 2 months or so, but it would be like an hour-long video with like the interrogation going in the background. Sometimes you'll pause the video and he's like, take a look at what this guy is saying here. Blah blah blah. So they would actually analyze this and talk about like the psyche behind these criminals and like why it looked like they were lying, and the gestures and things. Very very thorough. But yeah, recently they started posting less, and we found out because YouTube was demonetizing a lot of the content, as they love to do.
Yeah.
And a bunch of channels just popped up in its place. Like I just see random gaming channels turn into like Jim Can't Swim style content. They'll be like, take a look at this murder dash JCS style content. And I'm just like, bro, like you were literally playing Animal Crossing 2 days ago, and now you're at this channel. And it got them like a lot of views. It was pulling in a shitload of views for these channels. None of them had the same delivery, even though they had some interesting cases. And then JCS tried to come back with a new video, and I guess YouTube immediately demonetized it, and they were just saying there's no way out of this right now. So I think it's a kind of a sad loss, because it created this entire genre on YouTube that was kind of unexplored before that. And yeah, they just decided to stop fighting the good fight because it was just too much for them.
I mean, that sucks to hear, but fair enough. You gotta pick your battles in life, and I guess this just wasn't a battle that they wanted to continue doing.
It's just interesting that YouTube attacks content like that. Because I remember that stuff kind of used to thrive before that. I don't know if you remember Rob Dyke,
Yeah,
aka Rob Gavigan, who is kind of on his comeback now.
yeah,
But he used to post very frequently.
I watched him when I was like in freshman year. I even when we did uh uh like our Frankenstein project in my senior or junior year, I don't remember, of high school. I the assignment was you have to frame the story of Frankenstein as if it was like someone else doing it. So I was like, okay, what if I framed it like it was some like person on YouTube talking about the case or whatever, and then I decided to frame it as a Rob Gavigan video.
That's a good idea too, because he had quite the format.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell that he borrowed from Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, definitely.
It was very much like that, like in that vein. He would kind of be in like some part of his room, and he wore like this suit with a red tie, and he would say something witty at the beginning with his face showing, and then he would go into like artistry or like little sketches of like certain incidents. And yeah, he was even featured in a YouTube Rewind. Can you imagine being featured in a YouTube Rewind and you're like at the top of your game, and then YouTube starts demonetizing your content?
Yeah.
It's like that's quintessential YouTube in a nutshell right there.
I remember for a while he had to like I mean like he couldn't even like put the word shocking in the title of his videos. For
Yeah,
a while.
I think now they've lightened up a little bit. Apparently not as much as they should have, because, Jim Can't Swim content is like, and there's nothing even like inappropriate in JCS content. Like they're literally analyzing a police interrogation, but I guess it's dark
I don't know.
content or whatever. They feel that it's not worth monetizing. But similar vein, he was covering a lot of like, gruesome murders and investigations and things like that. So they just went after his channel and a lot of similar channels. And I recall, like, I still don't think that the videos he's put up lately have reached the caliber of what he used to put up. And I think one big part of that was the illustrator that used to work with him. Her name's the Jupis, and she used to put up like some really chilling sketches of what went down in certain situations. And they like just added to that content. Now he'll post like stock photos of like detectives meeting each other and talking, or like, caution signs, and like it was really bad stock photos for a while.
Yeah.
Where I could tell like he was editing his own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's basically what his channel has been going through, and I think he's starting to be inspired and stuff again, because I know he was going through like some internal struggles as well. So
Yeah,
I hope that he's on the up and up now.
I think he was having some family problems as well for a bit. Don't quote me on that though.
Yeah, and then he couldn't even use like his actual last name, which is Dyke.
Yeah.
And since that's a derogatory term,
Yeah.
YouTube decided to push his listings down because he had that in his name, which is, I mean, there needs to be exceptions. YouTube, come on now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, apparently he was already planning on changing his last name anyways, because like his last name Gavigan came from like one of his grandmothers who never got the chance to pass on the name, and so I mean.
Oh, okay. I thought it was on his mother's side, and he just kind of took that name.
I mean, it's kind of that too. It was like
Yeah.
it was like he took that name because to honor his grandmother, and partially also because of his last name being Dyke and people not liking that. And
Right.
YouTube not liking that specifically.
Yeah, that's so like very interesting for dark content on YouTube. If you guys want to start a YouTube channel in that vein, just be very careful. It may get the views, but it's not gonna get the YouTube support. So you gotta like fight that.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge in itself, because there's just so many there's so many like little things happening behind the scenes at YouTube that's just very hard to like have a consistent what to do playbook. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
So I mean, what YouTube have you been watching then?
um, I've mostly been watching like I guess game stuff and yeah, mostly true crime and ARG stuff. To be honest.
People are still doing ARG stuff.
Yeah, I mean Nightmine's still going strong, and there's also like just not even like the game element. I guess web series would be more appropriate, but like people have been doing web series a lot, like Mandela Catalog. I've been watching a lot of that.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, if that's what you consider ARG in a sense.
I guess, like I said, web series is probably a better term, but yeah,
So I've noticed that those I like those because I feel like there was this in between portion where like creepypastas was definitely like the thing back in the day. I wasn't really too into them. I thought some of them were scary, but then like all of a sudden, there's just the quality of those stories just started to fall off.
oh yeah, no, they all
Um,
became Jeff the Killer clones after a while.
right. One of the most popular at like being Slender Man and stuff like official stuff came out of like a lot of these. But did you notice like we got to a point where we just everyone started piggybacking off of Five Nights at Freddy's for everything? Like there's just this expanded fan universe, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I think it's great to like embrace your creative talents, even if you have to like, use franchises as a crutch to kind of really put that in place and keep what's interesting to other people. Because yeah, if you're just doing something original, Five Nights at Freddy's gonna trend a lot more. But like I just noticed that was the trend for a while. Like after creepypasta is just basically FNAF verse. And now I see like Sonic.exe is getting more popular again.
Which is
Out of
weird.
nowhere.
Yeah, which is weird. I think it's because of the Friday Night Funkin' mods that made it popular again.
Yeah, because I've done a few of those videos and I have people like leaving comments on my new stuff like, hey, do Sonic.exe. And I'm like, I've talked about this guy like how many times already. But apparently there's a lot more lore for me to dig into. Like
I've been thinking about doing a Needle Mouse video. Maybe we could collab on that or something.
yeah. Like maybe I'll just drop a needle mount. Like I wanted to wait till October, but maybe I should strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
But I'll save Sonic.exe until October for sure, because Mentok whatever. That's my deal.
Yeah.
That's my spiel. So I can do like a whole origin story on that, like on the actual character, not what the creative process was, because I already did that like twice.
Yeah. Do an origin oracle on the character for Halloween, and then talk about why the Needle Mouse version is better.
Have they released a new video since that one Lego stream I did?
Yeah, actually, they released one the other day, I think.
Yeah, so like for those who don't know, Needle Mouse is kind of in the same vein of the Mandela Chronicles. That's what it's called.
Catalog. It's like
Catalog.
It's an analog horror series. But it's like more similar to Walton Files, I'd say, where it uses like art mostly for characters instead of like live action footage and stuff, like how Mandela Catalog and Local 58 and fucking Gemini Home Entertainment do.
Right. Like some of those things, like they'll put up. I'm not saying the art's shitty, but it's just like very basic, and you look like I love that the story can carry it more so than the art does, because you can kind of put yourself in that position. I would love to see like, like a small talented team redo some of this stuff with like very similar like horror direction and cinematography, because it's very chilling stuff, and I think this is the new wave. This is what I was trying to get at from the beginning of this conversation. Like we went from creepypasta to like people borrowing off the FNAF lore, and they were doing similar analog horror. Like they would do like interview tapes with like the characters, or somehow William Afton would be involved in like some other pizza place and stuff like that. So they were doing very similar things there, but now like I think that we have these original creations that are doing pretty well on YouTube now. And Needle Mouse is one that's kind of like serving as this origin story to Sonic.exe. And I got to watch a few of those, and I'm interested in going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, like I said, I'm interested in making a video on it too. So if you don't, I will. I'll steal your shit, motherfucker. I'm gonna take over the fucking channel, do all your content, be the biggest ripoff of Mentok ever. I'll
Mentok. Who's this guy?
I'll double your subscriber count in a year, and then I'll make a fake video on this channel talking about all these lies about you, and then we'll just cut ties, and then I'll ghost you for 10 years. And then in 10 years you'll come back like fucking Mortal Kombat character and rip my throat out and reveal to the world that I'm a lying shitbag.
And rant.
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm so tired.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if someone just like did my content on a new channel and then got like 100,000 subscribers within like the next 2 months.
Yeah.
It's just like that's the way YouTube works. It's just how Mafia works.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm seeing similar channels to me like blow up with like they're reaching like 15,000 like similar stuff like but blow up in a sense from 0 to 15K with like 10 videos, and they're taking like these long 3-month breaks, and I'm like, how do you do it, sir? Give me some tips, you know. But all part of the progress, I guess. Maybe I should make an analog horror and call it mentok.exe.
You should do that for like April Fools.
You're right. That'd be good.
Yeah.
I was thinking of doing a Big the Cat origin oracle, but maybe I should do one of these instead.
Yeah.
And then like
the Mentok files.
And then after that, just have like freaking police interrogations and case breakdowns after that. It's like, what happened to this man's like video game content?
I could help you write those. That would be fun.
As you can see, the man puts his hand on the table. He wants to drink water, but he's very nervous because he committed this crime. Use that whole formula.
As you can tell from his nervous demeanor, he obviously committed those 17 counts of arson back in 1937.
His name is William Afton. And there we are, full circle, right?
Yeah. I have a thing planned out for April Fools that I think you'll find funny. Actually.
What do you got?
I'll tell you after we stop recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to spoil it?
No, don't want to spoil it because then people won't be surprised by it. But
well, on top of that, I have no final thoughts.
I don't either. This has been a very mid episode, I feel.
Whatever. Watch this. This is gonna be our highest performing podcast.
This is gonna be the one that breaks 100 views.
Yeah, that's this is definitely gonna be the one. The world record right here.
This is the one.
We did it. Is it still mid to you now?
Oh, God, maybe.
All right. Well, catch us on the flip side. Bye.
Yeah, that's it for today's episode. Thank you all for joining us for episode 14, I believe. Yeah,
I've lost count.
I don't know. Fuck it. Maybe I'll have to stop counting them soon. But yeah,
maybe this is episode 14. Let's confirm that with our last 30 seconds. This is episode 14. Hey, we're doing pretty good keeping track.
Yep. Thank you all for joining us for episode 15. We will see you all later.
Peace.